So as Art mentioned, we're going to go over the inventory module today. If you can't see the screen, just let me know. And if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please stop me and go ahead and ask your questions. First thing that I'm going to do is sign into Oasis. So I'm going to do that by clicking on the sign in link on the upper right hand corner and putting in my login and password. Once I sign in, I have access to all of the Oasis modules, and the one that we're going to look at today is inventory. So once I click on inventory, I now have access to the entire inventory module. The first thing that you need to do, of course, when conducting an inventory is to decide whether you're going to do a partial inventory or a full inventory. If you have the luxury of being able to close down the library for a day or two, you may be able to do a full inventory. If not, Oasis does allow you to do partial inventories, and you can always do partial inventories throughout the course of the year. So you can shut down one section here and one section there. Before you know it, you'll have the entire library inventoried. You can either scan your items into a tricoder. You can simply use your laptop with Notepad and scan the items right into Notepad using your circulation scanner. Once you do that, you're going to upload the information into Oasis. That's where this inventory module comes in. The thing that we do is we click on Create New Session. Now, if you have previous sessions here, you can always open them, or you can remove the session simply by selecting that session and then removing it. We'll go in right now and create a new session. The first thing that you have available to you is the setup. So you can put in the name, and that can either be your institution's name, or you see that we have by default it says session started on, and then the day's date. Also, you can put in, if you wanted to put your institution's name, you can put the date started right here. You can put your institution's name here. So you have a choice of either putting it under name or institution name. Your database set, you can inventory any of your databases. So your library database, your equipment database. If you have multiple branches and multiple databases, you can just inventory one branch. And you can do that by just choosing database set. Also, you can tell the system whether you are using a Dewey class number type or a Library of Congress class number type. You can let the system know if our barcodes are case sensitive, and also if we wanted to check the call number sequence. We can do that just by selecting these options. You also have the option of telling the system to ignore the item part when it's checking the call number sequence. So it really depends on you and what type of inventory that you'd like to do. If you want to check the call number as well as the item part, you may find that there are items that are misplaced, and that could be because items are out of shelf list order. If you do not want to see a giant misplaced item and you're not concerned with the fact that the items are out of shelf list order, you do have the option of ignoring the item part, and you would do that just by checking off this section. Once I do everything, I just click Save Changes. The next thing that I can go into is my barcode set. So once I have either scanned all of the items into the tricoder or I've scanned them into Notepad, I would either upload the barcodes from the tricoder. To do that, I'm going to connect my tricoder. If I have an older tricoder, I'm going to connect it to the keyboard port behind the computer. If I have a newer tricoder, the newer ones come with USB connectors, so I would just plug that into a USB connector. Once I do that, once I turn it on, my first question is going to be data collection. The decoder is going to ask me if I want to collect data, and I'm going to say no to that. The next question the tricoder is going to ask me is, do I want to upload data? It will say data upload, and I'm going to answer yes to that. Once I answer yes, the upload procedure will start. Once it finishes, I'm going to see all of the barcodes listed here, and I'm just going to click OK, and that will accept all of the barcodes from the tricoder. If I decide to use a circulation scanner and just scan everything into Notepad, well, I'm going to have to save that to a file. And I can save that file on my computer someplace, and then I'm going to upload the barcodes from a file. And that's actually what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to click here, add barcode from file, and now I'm just going to upload my file by choosing the file. It happens to be on my desktop, so I'm just going to come in here and add this item to my desktop by clicking OK. Now we can see that the barcodes have all been imported. This is the barcode import set, and if I want to confirm this, I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to click OK. I could remove selected items, so if I was doing inventory and then somebody came in and said, can I have this book? I could just go in and just click the item, remove the selected item from my list, and then it would not be inventoried. I can also add a barcode, so if somebody came back with a book when I was in the middle of my inventory, I could just scan. If I had a lot of them, I can scan them and scan them into out of sequence. If I just had one, I may want to just scan or type that in right here where it says add barcode, and then I would just click add. Otherwise, if I have a lot of items that I wanted to scan, I would scan them in and I would select here add to out of sequence. So we're going to click OK to accept this import. And see under barcode set that I have entered barcodes B73 30 through B73, and I have 17 of them in that set. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, move on then. The next thing that we can do falls under call number range. Call number range is going to allow me now to do a partial inventory. So if I'm just going to inventory my 000s, go in and tell the system just inventory that section. So that I'm going to come here and create a new call number range. What I need to do is put in the first number, so I want to do my 000s. Now, do you think that I should put here 099 if I wanted to do my all my 000s? Anybody have a guess?
100.
Right, exactly. I'm going to put 100. The reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that anything that may have had, let's say, 099.989 or 999, I want to make sure that they all get inventoried. So I'm telling the system, stop at a whole number, start at a whole number, and then stop at a whole number. And you would do the same thing if you were doing inventory of your fiction section. Let's say that I wanted my fiction books had FIC. Well, I tell the system to start at FIC but end at FID.
Mm-hmm.
Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, click OK. Now, if I needed to tell the system what type of barcode patterns I had, for instance, do I have leading characters or do I have trailing numbers, I could go in and I could tell the system exactly what kind of a barcode pattern I have. When I do that, I'm basically done now. All I have to do is click Do Inventory, and I let the system do my inventory. So I click Do Inventory, and now we have a statistics report that comes out, and it shows that I scanned 17 barcodes out of the 1,450 barcodes that I have in my system. So I only did roughly 1% of my bibliographic record, or 1.17% of my holding section. And we see that all here. The system would go in and it would tell me out of the books that are marked missing, cost of the newly missing items, the percentage of the newly missing items. So I can see that in this inventory I've lost $32.97 worth of books. Now the system also goes and it tells me what's going on with my inventory. So we can see highlighted some missing books, some misplaced books, and some out-of-range books. So let's go through all of these tabs, and I'd like to explain what they mean. If newly found were to be highlighted, that would mean that the book was marked at some point during the year, and then when you did your inventory, the book found. So you must have scanned it and the book was found. So what happens is that book should just be changed. The status should be changed from missing to no. Your next section is missing, and this gives me all of the books that are missing. So I didn't scan anything in the professional collection, so they're missing. I could have, though, when I was in the section itself, under column range, I could have come in here. So let's go in here and let's edit this. I would have told the system here under prefix, don't look at any prefix. So by clicking prefix and not putting anything there, I'm telling the system not to look at the prefix. If I just wanted to inventory the professional collection or the reference collection, well, I would put in that prefix right here, and then the system would just inventory that specific section of the log. And let's go back now to our inventory. These items that are missing. Now, both in the missing section as well as the newly found section, you can have the system mark all of the books that are missing. You can have them mark them as missing right here. All I'd have to do is click Mark Missing Items. And it would do it for me automatically. I wouldn't have to go into cataloging and change each individual book. Same thing with new found. I wouldn't have to go into circulation and return all of those items. I could just click the button and the system would do it for me. The next option is invalid barcode. Invalid barcode means that it's not your barcode. So maybe the book belongs to the public library. Maybe it belongs to a school library. Maybe it belongs to another library in general. It's not yours. The other way that you can get an invalid barcode is if you accidentally sometimes scan the UPC code, the full UPC code, that could sometimes register as an invalid barcode. The next section that we have, this would be misplaced books. So these are any books that are not on the shelf properly. So we can see here that we have the book Computers, which is 001.6 OBR. We show that on the shelf before Computer Wars, 001.6 HAR. So the system is telling you where to locate the book. So it basically wants you to go over and take out, it wants you to take out Computers and put it after Computer Wars. If you don't read your shelves, the system will come in and tell you if the item is misplaced. But now if you would have checked off in our setup If you would have checked off don't check the item part, it would not have looked at this HAR or the OBR. It would have just said, okay, they're both 001.6s, so they're in the right place. So that's the difference of checking off the item part to look at the item part or not. The section that you have is loan shelved. Loan shelved simply means that you scanned a book in your inventory that circulation has checked out to someone. So that item would have to be returned in the circulation module. No barcode. What it means is that the catalog does not show a barcode in the 852P field. So even though there is one on the book and you scanned it, something happened within cataloging. When the item was being cataloged, somehow the barcode was forgotten to be put in. So you would just have to go into cataloging, open up the record, and add the barcode. Questions? Okay. All right. Next we have duplicate barcode. Now, duplicate barcode would really only pertain to anybody that was using 2.8, which is one of our older systems. The newer versions do not allow for duplicate barcodes.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
When it comes up and says duplicate barcode when you're entering something in, how does it retain that barcode? Let's say I have an item and I deleted it from the system. I purged it from the system.
Mm-hmm.
Can I use that barcode again? How long does the system hold that number?
As long as you purge the record, you use it again immediately.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Now you have out of range. Now we did a partial inventory here. I told the system I only wanted to inventory the 000s through the 100s. But in that section, it happened to have found 5 books that were misshelved. These books actually belong in the 500s. 3 books that were misshelved, they belong in the 500s. So I can just go to the shelf, grab them, and put them where they belong. And the last tab is the statistics tab that we first looked at. And these can all be printed. You can just right mouse click and go to print, and you can print this. Does anybody have any questions about inventory? Does anyone have any questions about Oasis in general that you'd like to ask? We can open up the floor to any questions.
I have a question that happened this morning. It's my visual search button on the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
We updated Internet Explorer this morning, I think, till number 10, and there were some updates that came on during the evening. And now my visual search buttons do not work. I just press on it and it just spins. But if I Firefox or Chrome, my catalog, the visual search buttons are working.
And that's something that we are aware of, that the programs are looking into. It's something with the Internet Explorer 10. But if you go ahead and use Chrome,
yes, there's a problem with that.
There will be no problem, right?
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure. Does this have any questions?
Was that problem with visual search, is that a